Hello, everybody. This is Tanya Davies here, the Success Slow Coach, speaker, trainer, and therapist, and owner and director of the Mindful Impact Wellness Hub. I have the pleasure today of welcoming Lisa Infante. Welcome, Lisa.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Now, Lisa is actually well known for the work she does under the Goddess Code. Now, Lisa, can you give everybody an idea of what is the Goddess Code and who would be interested in working through it?
Okay, so the Goddess Code is my business, and we help women specifically between the ages of 25 and 35. However, I do have a lot of men and people outside of that scope that come on board, which is amazing. But so basically to reconnect with themselves, to work on, the issues of self-worth and self-love and what people actually feel that they do deserve and what they are attracting out of life. So we work through all of that kind of stuff so that people can then go and live an empowered life and reach their goals and actually have the courage to even have a look at what is not working in their life, what is working in their life, so that they can then create the best version of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Lisa, I know personally that you actually are a specialist in the area of relationships and mindset. And I have to say, with COVID and everything we've been through in the last year or 2 years, it feels like now, relationships are definitely becoming under the spotlight now, given how the close proximity that we are having to each other. What insights have you come through with being a coach in that space? What comes to mind with relationships in the COVID era?
Well, it's interesting because, people have spent so much time together. It's really, like you said, putting it under the spotlight of, what triggers us in our partners, what's triggering us in ourselves, and basically our coping mechanisms. Whereas, before it's easy to just kind of sweep stuff under the rug and kind of, escape, so to speak. But when you can't physically escape, what are we looking at? Is it really just a reflection of ourselves that we're just not happy with, what's going on in our lives at that given moment? Is it, oh, geez, this person is not who I thought they would be. Geez, my kids are, driving me nuts. I'm no longer able to multitask. Like, what's homeschool? What's this? And it's just so much crazy pressure.
Yeah.
Which is perfect in what, you're doing about slowing down.
Yeah.
In, being able to prioritize, being able to, patience is massive.
Yeah, I have to say, I was an epic fail when it came to homeschooling. I think I threw the book out the window. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, I'm owning the fact that I'm not a teacher to little tiny young ones academically like that. I'm going to fulfill the role of other things for them, but that was not my thing. So I'll own that one. But it is, like you said, it's about understanding our own filters and what we bring into that relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit curious. Let's get to know you a little bit more, because at the end of the day, you're here to help me talk about the slow leadership movement. And we've known each other for a while now, and I think you've got an absolutely amazing story. So please share with everyone, as much as you're willing to, what is your slow story? How did the universe or you decide to consciously slow down in your world, and what did it do for you?
Okay, well, it's a very interesting story, as you said. So, geez, I could talk all day about this, but I think the biggest event in my life came at age 24, and I'm 40 now, so it's quite a few years ago. I contracted meningococcal meningitis, so a double whammy of two very serious diseases.
Yep.
And yeah, like before that, I was just, on the go. I was, working and studying and doing this and that. And I'd moved interstate. I'm an Adelaide girl at heart, but I'd moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And just, the craziness of Melbourne life. And I was, young and out and here and everywhere. And within the space of 20 hours-ish, I, found myself in the ICU at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne. I had gone through a very serious demise in my mental capacity, my physical capacity, just everything kind of stopped. It was actually quite scary. Unfortunately, it is still a little bit hazy in that space. So, I think that's, subconsciously protecting myself. It's very scary, because I, woke up 3 days later in ICU, not knowing my name, not knowing where I was, what day it was, what the hell was going on. And had to relearn. I had no short-term memory. People would tell me stuff, and 5 seconds later I was like Finding Dory, like, what's going on?
That's like the ultimate slowdown, isn't it?
The ultimate slowdown, yeah. Physically, it was a physical slowdown. I couldn't really walk. I was shuffling, holding onto the wall and shuffling. Even speech-wise, I was, a sentence would take me about a minute to utter.
So all these years later now that you reflect back on that moment, what do you think were those high-level learnings that the universe tried to slam into you at that time?
Oh, look, I was not taking any time for myself. I was constantly, measuring myself about what I think, what I thought I should be doing. What are people expecting from me?
Yeah.
That be, family. And these are expectations that, I later realized I was putting on myself.
Yeah.
Did they exist? Perhaps some of them did. To be honest, you get pressure from your parents and
I think we're all guilty of that.
Jobs and, all that kind of stuff. But, at what point was I looking after myself and saying, I need a break. I need to stop. No, I don't need to say yes to everything. I was a yes person, It took me a long time to learn that I could actually say no.
Yeah.
Because, I needed time out, or I needed to do something that was more important to me, my development.
Yeah.
So that really honed it into me, like, just stop.
That's actually a really great lesson, because the amount of, I met a great leader the other day who works on the front line. I won't say what industry, but I was training this particular gentleman, and he just said to me, I just can't handle the conflict of saying no to people.
Yeah.
And it had backed him into a corner, and it was causing him great personal struggles. So here's an interesting one. Like, I know where you're at now, you are a highly intelligent, functioning businesswoman. I know that. That's why I'm interviewing you today. But I just want an insight here. Why do you actually think the business leaders in our society struggle so much with slowing down?
I think it's, and this is, I think sometimes it's about what the beautiful Melissa Ambrosini calls comparisonitis. So, we look at what's happening around us, and it's like, oh my God, like, there's a successful person. Okay, I need to do more. Look at all this stuff on social media. Like, this is what's happening. That's what's happening. Look at all these people have these amazing lives. I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
So just from a personal point of view, which then leaks out into your business, because your business really does become your life.
Yeah.
So to speak.
So it sounds like that comparisonitis is building a fear of missing out on something, the unknown.
Yeah, there's that, the good old FOMO, the fear of missing out. There's also the fear of failure too. Like, I need to be successful. I think it's a lot of the pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yes.
To just have that work-life balance, and that, like, I know I kind of had a belief growing up that, you had to work hard. You had to do this. You had to, those belief systems are like, well, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. Yeah. So if it's not hard, that means I'm not doing it properly, and I need to do more.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Easy pressure. And, as the, leader of an organisation, if you're working, for yourself, that will only kind of affect yourself and, then your family around you. But if you're the leader of a large organisation, that kind of pressure trickles down. And I've been an employee in a situation like that, where we used to get in trouble for socialising. Like, how was your weekend? Not quick, like, because how's your weekend? Okay, cool. I'll speak to you later.
Yeah.
It's just like, what happened was everyone became less productive.
Yeah, leadership by control doesn't work.
And it was counterproductive, because the more people were speeding up to keep up with it, keep up with the Joneses, keep up with the pressure, we actually became less productive.
Yeah.
I've also worked in environments where, the social kind of realm is encouraged and accepted, and that the way people are working with, okay, there's more of a balance here with work and life.
Yeah.
We're more productive that way. We're more excited to go to work. We're happier to spend that extra 10 minutes at the end of the day if we need to, because we feel a bit more fulfilled.
Yeah.
I think if that kind of slowing down, irrespective of whether that means, the work-life balance or just in the workspace, just taking it easy, rather than just being so hectic and having,
absolutely,
spinning in the air at the same time, really does have that flow-on effect.
So what would you say would be the best piece of advice that you've received? It could be mum, could be dad, could be mentors, bosses, whomever. What is your best piece of advice that somebody has actually gifted you about slowing down?
100% my mum. So you hit that on the head and said mum straight away.
We're pretty good, aren't we, mums?
Because it was interesting, just going back to the meningococcal story, I didn't learn my lesson from that at all. I moved back to Adelaide so Mum could take care of me. And as soon as I could walk properly and, you know, kind of remember short-term.
Let me guess, you had to catch up on everything?
Oh, I flew straight back to Melbourne. I went straight back to work, and yeah, I could only work, you know, 4 hours a day because I was exhausted after that. But the doctor told me to take 12 months off. I think I took 3.
Yeah.
So I didn't learn my lesson. So over the years, you know, that kind of compounded. And my mum would always tell me, stop rushing, slow down. You put so much pressure on yourself. Everything will get done in good time. Just trust and believe.
Yeah.
And my mum's an amazing woman because she does spin like 50 plates in the air, and she just does it with such ease because she doesn't put that like negative kind of pressure on herself. And taking my mum's advice, I mean, it's always hard to take advice sometimes, but I find that when I do that and take the pressure off, slow down, I actually do get more done because I'm not using a frenetic energy to kind of get through everything. I'm like, okay, next.
Yeah, so a shout out to all the mums out there because I've heard the exact same words from my mum over the years. Thanks, Mum. Unfortunately, we're only going to learn it in our own sweet time.
That's right.
So the more we spread the message about slow down and the reasons behind it, because I'm a very scientific-based person. I want to know the evidence. What is the evidence behind this? So we'll have our anecdotal evidence. What is yours, and what are your strategies, your personal strategies that you use now when you know it's time to start slow down? What do you see? What do you feel? What's coming up for you that gives you that little hint it's time?
So when I get overly emotional about something, and time has always been my best friend and my worst enemy. But so when I find myself worrying about time and how much time I've got to do all this stuff, that's a reminder for me to slow down. And what I mean by that is stop work and go play with my kids, or stop doing what I'm doing, hell with the housework, and put on, a trashy Housewives of something or other, for an hour with a coffee, reboot, rejuvenate, and then get back into it, because the emotions for me is what creates that kind of pressure, that negative. And using all that energy on that is actually chewing up the time.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you've just said like the first letter of my slow program is the S. It's the stop. And just be in your stillness.
Yeah.
So many people are just so scared without the distractions of the modern world to just sit in their stillness.
Oh, 100%. But you need it. You need it to rejuvenate, because then you can come back to whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And it could literally be 2 minutes, couldn't it?
Yeah. And you're in a different mindset. So you're okay, cool, I've had that. It's almost like an appreciation or a self-love to kind of go, you deserve that. Okay, cool. Here's your cup of coffee. Go away for 10 minutes. Come back, and then just get back into it. And that, and even as well, planning. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I get into a sense of overwhelm, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got, 10 things to do today. Which one?
I think you nailed it there though with the self-love part, like the self-worth, because the moment you do stop, you're actually finally reinforcing to that subconscious mind, that mindset in there, that you're actually worth slowing down for.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people are too scared to do the slowdown, I have to start looking at the self-worth straight away.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
So let me ask you, you've said that it takes a time sometimes. The universe likes to remind us, tap us on the shoulder several times. What are still your challenges right now, knowing everything you know? You're a master NLP strategist, you're a coach, you do all this amazing stuff. What's still your kryptonite?
My Achilles heel.
Yeah, that's all right.
Taking the time for myself still, because I've got 2 young children. I've got this business. I've got, a million balls in the air, family commitments, all that kind of stuff. So about planning, first of all, and planning time for me.
Yes.
First started looking into this. I'm like, okay, this is what I need for my business, and this and this. Hang on, where am I in this? Just me. All this is an extension of me, but where is me? And I used to think that taking time out for myself was selfish.
Yeah.
That's a constant reminder. My mum's in one ear saying everything will get done.
Yep.
Take the pressure off, everything will get done. And I know that that's something that I have to remind myself quite constantly. you know, take the emotions
so
out.
Important. It's so important. I mean, this year has been the year for me of compassion to myself. You know, I've been hustling since I could walk. I'm pretty sure if you ask my mum. and you know, like, it's taken until 42 to go, actually, it's okay for me to book a massage in the middle of the day, even if though you've got 10 deadlines coming up, because you're actually going to nail those deadlines far better if you look after yourself first.
Yeah, absolutely will.
Yeah, but it's still a luxury to some people.
Too. Oh, yeah, of course. But COVID taught us that too, because you couldn't go anywhere. So then what do you do with that extra time? People didn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what you do? Get a book. Get your favorite book and go read. Like, when was the last time you just did nothing except for feed your, you know, read a novel?
My mother used to use a really horrible term, but it worked when I was younger. And she used to say, only boring people get bored. And I was like, ooh, ouch. I don't think I've ever been bored in my life. And my husband and I did reflect on the COVID times. We were probably more productive during the COVID times with the juggle because of necessity. Necessity came so much higher for us. And I have to say, yes, we were busy, but a whole new level of productivity just seemed to sneak in there with balance. Don't know how we achieved it during that time, but we did. I didn't like the way the world then abruptly came back to normal, so to speak. And, you know, we were back at sporting events and all that kind of stuff. It all actually for me was a bit of a check-in to go, too much. It was all too much.
Yeah, that's a good lesson, actually.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You and I have both worked in the corporate arena for quite some time in our lives.
Yes.
Let me ask you, knowing what you know now and the value of the slow leadership movement, what do you think how do you think businesses could benefit by people actually just, especially their leaders and their management, senior management level, learning about slowing down properly? And I'm not just saying, oh, walking around the office and everybody just, you know, take your time, slow down. That's not what this is about. This is actually about stopping, listening, observing, and wondering how this could be better. That's the slow movement. Okay. So how do you think, in your perspective, how do you think the businesses could benefit from leaders actually switching to this?
I think it'd be very beneficial, because not only like we said before, like the person in the business, the way that they're going to treat their business is also the way that they treat themselves. So if they can learn how to slow down, you know, outside of their business, it will then carry through to the business. So whether that be just having more, you know, and yes, with the social life as well, because my fiance, his business now, they take time out to do fun things, like let's stop work and let's just do something fun. And you think, well, isn't that a waste of time? Well, no, it's not.
Not at all.
Not only are you creating an amazing culture within your, you know, your business, but then people are going to work differently when they get back, because they have taken that time out. Also with the, you know, the stopping and the listening and the observing, a job that I've worked at, everything was so frantic that they weren't actually stopping to pay attention to the feedback that they were getting. So the little small improvements that could have been made in the business to help the business run smoother were being ignored, because the bosses were too frantic and too busy to even listen to what was going to make their life easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't have time for the feedback. And it's a reflection of them. They were great bosses. It was just the pattern almost that they had gotten into, the hustle and bustle and this and that. It was just, you could feel it. The whole office space was filled with that energy.
Yeah.
And they were missing the key points that were right in front of their face.
Absolutely. You know, not having enough time to even look at your inefficiencies is, I mean, that's just ludicrous. But I still remember the day I walked into the office and I had a sense that open plan office, every person in that office was just holding their breath, just waiting until they could leave to take a breath. Whether they knew it or not, it was almost as though they were just waiting for something better. Instead of actively wanting that better at work, they were just sitting and waiting for it to come. So, Lisa, thank you so much. That's our time has come to an end. But I do. I do want to
talk all day.
We'll have to do a part 2. I do want to know. Look, for those people that actually would really love to reach out and work with you, what kind of services do you offer, and how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, so I've got a couple of coaching programs that people can enroll in, and basically we can work on any facet that people are struggling with. So, whether that be relationships, whether that be, I want a job change, whether it be, clearing some past trauma, whatever it is in your life that is an issue for you, we can work on it through one of the programs. So this, and I actually do offer free discovery calls, because a lot of people think, well, how is this going to specifically benefit me? I don't quite get it, which is totally normal. So people can contact me, and we'll just jump on a Zoom or on a phone call and have a quick chat about the struggles that people are going through, because let's face it, we all have struggles.
Absolutely. And look, you and I are both coaches. We're always coaching ourselves. And I would never actually, I've got 5 coaches. I would never go to a coach that isn't working on their own stuff with someone else as well. That's fundamentally important for those people that are looking for a coach. Your coach needs to be always working on themselves.
Because we got to weed the garden. It's like a garden. You can't just go, okay, cool, weeded the garden. It looks perfect and it's going to stay like this forever. No, the weeds are going to come up. You have to mow the lawns. You have to prune.
Anyone that's not willing to do the deep dive on their own stuff, walk away.
That's right.
Okay, so I am actually going to include, as you would expect, all your links, etc., your website, your services. I'm going to include it on all the descriptions and comments. If people could like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, the usual stuff, that would be great. Lisa, thank you so much for your time today. It's been amazing catching up with you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I hope everybody's enjoyed our catch up with the goddess that is Lisa.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.